From the streets of Ecuador to the bright lights of London, Caicedo has been on an incredible journey. Goals.
Oh, how about that on the volley for 1-1, Moises Caicedo.
Assists.
Jackson through again here.
Last-ditch tackles.
Out of the entirety of those Premier League players, when it comes to tackling, Moises Caicedo is equal first.
He is the complete package as a midfielder. While the Blues paid a large fee for him, he is proving to be worth the investment. From being labeled Nino Moi due to his sensitive nature.
He's a small boy. He cried, I don't know, 2-3 times with me. At the beginning, when I was, I don't know, maybe aggressive with him in the trainings or something like that.
To being one of the first names on the team sheet, this is the story of Moises Caicedo.
And I think Mo is showing how good is.
Caicedo was born in a run-down corner of Santo Domingo, Ecuador's 4th largest city by population. He enjoyed living with his family, but it didn't come without hardship. His father owned a rickshaw. His mother sometimes washed clothes for a little extra cash. Caicedo was the youngest of 10 siblings.
I like to have my big family, 10 siblings, and the youngest.
I guess Caicedo's dad was trying to make his own starting 11. He began his football journey on the dusty scrubland pitches of his hometown, where goals were marked out by piles of stones. His older brothers, they didn't take any prisoners. I learned how to play hard from them, Caicedo said in an interview in 2018. It's definitely from his brothers that Caicedo learned just how to properly 2-foot tackle someone. One morning, when Caicedo was busy smacking a ball against the wall next to his house, he caught the eyes of a local football coach called Ivan Guerra. There was just something about the way he was striking the ball, using both feet, that stood out to me, Guerra later said. He asked Caicedo to join his team, and from that moment on, played a pivotal role in Caicedo's journey. He bought him football boots, paid for his bus fares, and helped out his family when they couldn't afford food. Caicedo himself stated on a radio interview that Guerra was the only one who believed in him. The Ecuadorian played up front initially, but soon found his place in midfield. He was playing so well that there was buzz around his name now. By the age of 13, he was playing for the regional select 11, and even joined the youth ranks at Espoli, a professional team that was linked to a police academy in Quito. However, with Espoli being relegated, Caicedo was left without a path to professional football. But luckily for Caicedo, High Pedida, the club Caicedo played for at the age of 13, had a director by the name of Darwin Castillo. He sent Caicedo to a trial with the professional club called Mushik Runa, but unfortunately, Caicedo couldn't afford food or boarding, so the trial only lasted a week, and it wasn't successful. It seemed like his dream of becoming a professional footballer was ending before it even had begun. Luckily for Caicedo though, one of his brothers brought him to Ecuadorian Serie A side Independiente for trials, which he successfully passed. But unfortunately for Caicedo, another obstacle was waiting for him. He suffered a ruptured ligament in his knee in 2017, keeping him off the pitch for 10 months. He required a number of surgeries. According to The Athletic, Caicedo would just start crying out of frustration in his room. He was sad, but he continued believing. He was actually quite fortunate in the sense that Independiente had some of the top facilities in the nation. The academy was actually the envy of most South American clubs. When Caicedo returned, he was assigned a personalized training regimen and nutrition plan designed to get him back to his best. And he did get back to his best. The under-18 coach at the time said that Caicedo's athleticism set him apart from everybody else. His endurance, strength, speed, and agility, it put him on another level compared to his peers. After a wonderful display in an invitational youth tournament in Spain, Caicedo was moved up to the first team, where he would make his debut at 17. Despite his age, he was already the best player in the squad, according to his coach, Ramirez.
Stepped into the first team with his club, breeze. Stepped into international football with Ecuador, breeze. You know, he's up against Argentina, Uruguay, Colombia. He makes it look easy.
Let me tell you guys just how important Caicedo was. According to The Athletic, at the start of 2020, Caicedo flew from the under-20 Copa Libertadores in Paraguay just to play a league game against the local rivals LDU. Independiente won 3-2. Then right after, Caicedo hopped on a plane back to Paraguay to help the under-20s become champions of South America. Fun fact, in the final, he played against River Plate. And guess who was playing on that River Plate team? His current teammate, Enzo Fernandez. At the time, Caicedo was mainly deployed as a defensive midfielder, but later on he was pushed up higher to be a box-to-box midfielder. This way, they were able to get the most out of his work rate and defensive duties, but also utilize his ability to score goals and make the right pass in the attacking third. Perfect example was his performance in Independiente's 5-0 thrashing of Flamengo. This performance made a lot of noise for him in South America. By the end of 2020, Caicedo was the best player in his country. His performances in the Libertadores made him one of the most talked about South American talents. And that's when Brian came along. In typical Brian fashion, he played a few games and was loaned out to Belgium. They get a lot of young talented players and then immediately send them out on loan to get more development. They did the same thing with Matoma. Initially though, Caicedo struggled. His confidence took a dip from being sent out on loan, and he was struggling to adapt to the physical conditions of a new league. According to his manager at Beerschot, the club he was playing at in Belgium, Caicedo was off the pace. Through patience and hard work though, he began to adjust to the intensity of European football. His fitness began to improve. He began to impose himself on games. His confidence was back, and Brian could see it as they recalled him early in January of 2022. In his Premier League debut, he got an assist as Brian defeated Arsenal. Then he scored his first goal for the club in May, opening the score in what would end up being a dominant 4-0 win over Manchester United. He continued to get even better in the following season. Despite some controversy, he won both the Player of the Season and the Player's Player. I say controversy because in January of 2023, he released a statement announcing that he wanted to leave Brighton after Arsenal had shown interest. Brian rejected the request and then refused to sell the Ecuadorian mid-season. Pretty weird situation for Caicedo. I mean, the guy publicly writes a letter saying that he wants to leave the club, and then a transfer doesn't happen, so he just sat there playing with his balls. It made the situation at the club awkward, but De Zerbi asked the fans to not criticize the player.
I want they support him, and I don't want they can criticize him.
He actually ended up signing a new long-term contract, but everybody knew that this guy was going to leave. The question was just which club was he going to join. While Arsenal failed to get him, Liverpool tried to get him, but it was Chelsea that got the last laugh. Chelsea spent a lot of money, no doubt, especially given the fact that he didn't have a ton of experience in the top flight and just the role that he plays in. When you spend that much money, you're expecting the guy to come in and score 30, 40 plus goals, but that's not the role that Caicedo plays. Fans also didn't know what to expect after he gave away a penalty in his debut in a loss to West Ham. Given the amount of money that was spent on him and Chelsea struggling as a whole as a team, everybody went into panic mode. But each season, he has been getting better and better. He is getting a lot of praise now under Maresca because the team is winning, but he was still very good under Pochettino as well. But that's the problem of being a holding midfielder. You only get recognition when the team is winning. And even when the team is winning, you have to do double the work to just get half the recognition. But you know who really appreciates the players that do the dirty work? Managers. And that's why no matter who the manager has been, whether it was Pochettino or Maresca, Caicedo has always been one of the first names on the team sheet. The amount of defensive work this man does is exceptional. Look at his heat map, his tackles, and interceptions. If I had to make a list of top 5 players I would never want to play against if I was a professional footballer, Caicedo would be on that list. He would be such a nuisance, constantly hounding you, biting at your ankles, being aggressive in every single challenge, leaving a little bit on every single tackle. Even Maresca has talked about just how much physicality Caicedo brings to the team.
Romeo and Moi, they give us also physicality, strength in the middle.
Like I said earlier, it's the combination of his endurance, the fact that even though he's not the biggest guy, he's super strong, fast, and aggressive. The Italian has used Caicedo as a holding midfielder and as an inverted fullback. Even though Pochettino also started using an inverted fullback system towards the back end of the season, I do feel like Maresca's system is a lot better. I feel like players know exactly where they need to be, and for someone like Caicedo, having the fullback right next to him in the build-up means he's not isolated. I felt like there was too many games under Pochettino where Caicedo was just on his own in the middle of the park, with Enzo being further up the pitch, and then there being a big gap between the back line and where Caicedo was. But the great thing about Caicedo is he's more than just a defensive beast. He is also great going forward. His spectacular goal against United, as well as his assist to Jackson, are the shining moments he needed for people to see just how good he is in the attacking sense as well. If you are a Chelsea fan, it's hard to watch Caicedo and not see the similarities with N'Golo Kante.
A lot of players in the midfield, like Makelele or N'Golo Kante, they were my inspiration for me to support Chelsea as well.
I'm not talking about the fact that they both have really round-headed shapes like a Malteser.
Yeah, it's not really a Malteser.
But rather their energy, their humbleness, and the fact that they were two aggressive midfielders who could do a little bit of everything while running for 120 minutes like they had 3 lungs.
When you look at all of the Chelsea players, Moises Caicedo, tackles and interceptions, he's got the most since N'Golo Kante in 2021. So wow. Kante, we know, was loved by Chelsea fans.
Caicedo is one of those players that no matter what the result was, you know that he gave it his all in the 90 minutes. Despite how far he has come, Caicedo has not forgotten his roots. He took part in a neighborhood tournament just a few days after the World Cup. This clip of him scoring a goal in the final went viral in Ecuador. He has been generous, investing back into the community, and even has his own project there, the Moises Caicedo Football School. I think the first class you take there is Tackling 101, where Caicedo comes in and teaches you how to 2-foot lunge someone while getting the ball. As far as being at Chelsea, all he needed was time and patience. After all, remember that this is a kid that was so sensitive that he had a nickname about it. He is still learning. There are areas of his game that still need improving, but he's young. As he matures more and plays more, he should only keep getting better and better. Now, he isn't the only South American midfielder to be shining for the Blues. To see how Enzo Fernandez has also shut down his critics, you have to watch this video right here.